We like to start our tours with a little bit of history, so you have a sense of how it all began. The original carpet tile was invented for residential use in the 1950s by a Dutch manufacturer called Hugo. Carpet tile for commercial use was not considered until the late 1960s, when some forward-thinking employees of Carpets International in England decided to take a chance.
Well, why not? Why not start at the beginning, as I see it? It really did start with a company called Carpet Manufacturing Company, whose directors were invited to tour a big ship, which was the France, and they saw carpet on the decks exposed to salt water and stuff, and they couldn't figure out how that could be. You have to remember back then we were making carpets with jute, cotton, wool, and starch. Certainly nothing was waterproof, you know. And so they were kind of intrigued by this product, which was down directly on steel in some cases. And a small team was set up, of which I was one of the members of that team, went down to see this little operation, which was It was strange, to say the least, but it was the beginning for us of a long path towards making a product that essentially had a backing of pure PVC and a face of nylon. After many misstarts, we ended up, in desperation, sticking fiberglass in it, a fiberglass mesh. And without realizing it, we had created the ideal material for creation, for conversion, I should say, into carpet tiles. And then, of course, it took off. It took off from there. The salesman came back with a huge order. I think it was something like 22,000 yards, and we were all dancing around celebrating, because that was huge for us. And he said, well, there is one problem with it. He said, it's carpet tiles. And I said, there's no way we're going to make carpet tiles. That's ridiculous. Why don't you go out and sell what we make? Who the hell ever heard of carpet tiles? I said, I'm not going to do it. And I was the engineer and stuff. And he said, well, yes, we are. We are going to do it. We've accepted the order. And you've got 10 weeks to do it. That's what I was doing when my son was born. My mother-in-law wondered where the heck I was making that first order. The thing that really got me upset was that salesman, that idiot salesman that had given us 10 weeks to make this order, came by and asked me if they were square. I got pretty upset over that. All the effort we were putting into the micro switches and everything else. Yeah, of course they're squared. Well, are they all the same size? And I'd ask him, well, how big do you want them? That's how we started. With a demand from a customer and a salesman determined to satisfy that demand. Kind of interesting, because if you fast forward it nearly 40 years, I think this company still is sales driven. I think that's the secret. Ray was looking for a process to support the Milliken print operation. And I think he was therefore, as I recall, doing a tour of potential sources for a product for that process. And he looked at ours, and I think he probably wondered, what on earth were we cutting it up into small bits for? But later on, when he realized that there was a company out there with expertise in manufacturing carpet tiles, a company called Carpets International Georgia Incorporated was put together. Siggy had a dog called Siggy that Ray was responsible for, but that's another story. I wonder if he remembers that. The people here in the Grange always impressed the heck out of me right from day one. The work ethic, the ability to, just tremendous people. I wouldn't want to embarrass the folks here with saying things like that, but it was like walking into light and seeing the enthusiasm, which I'd never experienced before. Everybody was determined to make this thing work. So that was my good fortune to experience that. and realized there was a better world to go to. The early years of Interface were one of continuous excitement. There's no other way to describe it. Continuous excitement for everyone working there, continuous challenge. When I left England, I left a company that gave me 5 weeks vacation a year, 5 or 6 maybe, came here and never even thought about vacations. It was such a trip. The early years were counting barrels of PVC on a Sunday morning. That's one thing I remember. Counting cones of yarn with Don Lee on a Sunday morning. Don Lee saying to me one Sunday morning, "Scotty, I love this place," and I thought it was insane. And I got to thinking about it later and realized that that was a true statement, a very profound statement, but it indicated the difference in the background that I'd left. I'll never forget him telling me that. I thought he was insane when he first said it. But the more I thought about it, the more it sank in what the commitment here was to making this company a success. And I could no idea it would grow the way it has done. But if ever there was a reward, if you will, for somebody doing things right, I would say that Interface was it. Just doing things right in every sense of the word. You know, doing it right by each other, doing it right by the company, doing it right by the client. If ever there was a company that deserved to succeed, if doing things right is the way to run business, then Interface deserved to succeed.